beyond those college places where they want to go. So from that point of view, I think we've been a real success. And we've got to thank our lovely careers lady at the back there for being part of that as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
So I put Adam down actually as the most likely man to make $1 billion and hopefully give me $1 million. Okay, on to Emma. Where's she? Where's she hiding?
She's got behind me, mate.
Hi Elliot, nice haircuts.
Yes.
Okay, Emma, sweet and innocent. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. You're messing up with her, you're in trouble. And I think she's been with us for 8.5 years, is that right?
No.
Long time?
8.5 years.
Oh, you are, somewhere around there. Awful long time, isn't it? Okay. Oh, sorry. Well, I'll go listen.
5 years.
So she's been described by a member of staff as, I'm not going to say that member of staff, I think I had it on the end of mine. The member of staff said she was a hardest worker with a heart of gold, but with a mouth like a dock worker. Okay, so Emma has been voted, I think, most likely leaver to open a school for young ladies to teach them etiquette. Okay, on to Reese. Barry College awaits him. If you can only get that dig sorted out. Reese, fellow scooter rider, was amazed to learn he's got a scooter and he's got his CPT test. Out there in the real world, independent young man. He was voted best haircut for 2014. He was. Fantastic haircut he did. DV, Reese wanted to shave his head.
I remember that.
Only he didn't check the batteries first, so we ended up
You went freaking monk.
half the job. So it actually took off to be the next great fashion.
It looked like he was from that movie, The Monk.
I've always thought of Reese actually as having the most potential of probably any of the kids who run in Headlands actually. Most potential. First, if he could just throw away that shovel he keeps digging himself a hole with, I just feel the world is his oyster. I really do. And he's a cracking young man, and I just, you know, he's just lovely, polite chap. Oh, hiya, George. Wow. Wow. Okay, so, on to the next one. Irene.
Oh God.
Irene's cracked already, so I'm not going to look at
No,
Irene.
I'm not cracked. I'm just under the bottom.
Okay. What a lovely, sweet and considerate girl, eh? She's lovely. You've seen her come on in leaps and bounds. From this little tiger who came into Headlands. Not to be messed with.
The big roaring run.
Exactly. What was it again?
A big roar.
A big roar. She's roaring through life, isn't she? And she's all set now to get herself off to college. And I just find it amazing that you guys have come into school labelled unteachable, and now you're just out there finding a way in the world and going on to further education, higher education in most instances, you know, with such potential. It's just astounding. It really is. I just wish I had that kind of support when I was in school, because I wouldn't have been a plumber when I first left school. We've been wasted 20 years. Okay, on to the... So I put down actually, Irene's most likely to live in Japan. Get a BAFTA for dance routines.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm glad George is here. George is my biggest, last one, George is my biggest surprise. You stand up, George, you'll see why. We weren't expecting this tin round. I mean, George would just be pottering around the class, shouting out random comments, chirping here and, you know, pottering over there, and it's like, oh my God, it's just like a whirlwind. And then,
Him again!
I don't know what happened, I think we had a conversation, and then he came back after the holidays one day, and he just said, right, I want to learn. I said, oh right, let's have a crack at it, same old story. So, fast forward, 6 months later, he's gone from this kid who's just to come into class, cause a bit of chaos, answer some questions out of the blue, you think, oh, where did you get that from? And then he'd go back to a bit of chaos again. And then you get this mindset, all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, George. 6 months later, he's got himself a GCSE C grade in biology. I thought, how on earth did he do that? It was just like, I'll never forget George, and I still can't figure out how he did it. There must be something in his teacher, I'm sure. But it's just,
Something in the water.
I just can't. It's just like one of those shocks that keeps you going. There's hope for everybody.
It's not worth losing sleep over, don't worry.
We shocked us all today, but I didn't expected that. It's probably hoodie, isn't it? Hoodie, and then a t-shirt, and then, oh, it's fantastic. In fact, I want a tailor.
It's loud.
So, I put
George,
down
loud.
George as the most likely man to get a job. Can I say that? Because he's turned down 2 already. So, you know, you just can't fault that, can you? So, just to sum up, I just really fortunate really to be sitting here and in place of Sean and just being able to relay some of those memories and some thoughts. And just wishing you guys all the best. Because I think you've got, if you take the bull by the horns, you've got fantastic lives ahead of you, and you'll do smashing. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, wonderful. Mr. O, do you want to do George, or do you want me to say something quick about
No,
George?
you say something.
I'll say something quick about George. Well, you did.
I had to do it behind his back.
You missed it. George and I, as Mr. O'Sell, just before I wrap up, just a light touch story about George. Me and Mr. O took George snowboarding. We had a wonderful week a few years ago. And at the time there was a film out called The Italian Job. And there was a guy on The Italian Job called Handsome George. Anyone remember the film Handsome George? I think it's Jason Statham on it. And they called him Handsome George because every time in the film, whatever he was doing, whether he was digging a hole, robbing a bank, driving a car, he just looked so cool all the time. And like, you know, he could do anything. And every time, George, first thing in the morning, everyone was sweating, putting on snowboard boots, and he'd just be like sat there, with all his snow on. And then we'd be like kids all like taking helmets off, and George would already be there, waiting for his coffee or drinking his coffee, just kind of, you know, sunglasses on. So he quickly gained the nickname Handsome George, which I subsequently called him for the rest of his school career. And he's turned up today, absolutely reconfirming that I am right about some things. Handsome George. You'll always be Handsome George for me, my friend. Thanks very much for coming. These moments mark the end of a journey. And I always think, when we get to these times, how do we know that the end of the journey has been a success? And so I always apply the Nanny McPhee rule. Listen to the words carefully. When you need us but don't want us, we are here. And when you want us but don't need us, it's time to go. But we won't be around. And you are at a place now where you have achieved a great deal and you are absolutely ready to go. And I mean that with sincerity. You have achieved great things. You're great individuals and achieved a huge amount here, and you are absolutely ready to go. But the end of one journey is often the start of another. And your journey will have its ups and downs over the next few years. You're embarking on new learning, new places, meeting new people. But don't forget, every successful journey has one thing or two things. One, a plan, so you have some certainty about what you're doing next, which you all have. And the second thing is, you only will survive if you keep your friends and your family around you. And all the people you've met here, this school's been here for 100 years, and nobody's going anywhere. And I wrote in most of your cards, I'm interested to know the highs, or are more interested to know when things are difficult for you and you just need a cup of tea and a cup of coffee and just a bit of time with some old friends and family. So we are your friends and family, so please don't forget us. When you move on to all the great things you're going to be doing next year, we really, really want to see you and we want to hear from you frequently as you move on into that journey, because that's what will really help you become a success. So I think you are a great bunch of young people. My next message is to those in post-16 who are filling your footsteps, because you're kind of gone now. We won't forget about you, but you are going to be gone. And as I look around the room, I see some new students in black t-shirts, looking all fresh and new, and kind of just starting the journey that you started 3 years ago. And so my challenge to you lot, most of you sat over there, is are you going to be as great as the cohort who've just leaving us? Because they have really set the bar, and they have been a great group of young people, and we've had some amazing experience with them. My challenge to you is, you can be as great, and they've really set an example for you. So I wish you lot, the new group, fill in the footsteps, the best of luck next year. So thank you to the leavers, thank you to the staff who've made such a key difference, and lovely to see some of our ex-staff coming back, and because you've had great times with these young people. They clearly mean a lot to you. Thank you very much to the parents and carers. Obviously our kids don't experience the success without your continued support. And so, a heartfelt thank you for all of you who've made their journey a really successful one here at Headlands School. So have a great Hawaiian party, and thanks very much for coming. Cheers.